is changing, the world's on fire. I want to do my part to inspire change.
Welcome, everybody. This is Alice Van Blockland and Maggie Reedy of Ignite Transformative Events, and you are joining us for another delightful Ignite Illuminator interview series. Today, we have Junie Swadron with us. Junie is an author, playwright, psychotherapist, international speaker, workshop facilitator, and professional writing coach. And you're going to hear more from Junie about her current offerings. I know she just had a wonderful retreat up at the Bethlehem Center in Nanaimo, and I believe another one is coming up next month. So a little bit more about Junie. She spent the last 30 years guiding thousands of students in writing and sharing their life stories. She's also currently working with corporations and social service agencies to promote mental health in the workplace. Maggie.
Junie, it's just such a delight to have you with us today because I know that your genuine heart leads you in everything you do. I know that you are very open and transparent with how mental health is a big mission and a big purpose and a guiding star in your life, personally and professionally. I know that you've touched my family. In my family, we have dealt with mental health issues in a big way. And I know that, when my mom saw your play before she passed away, she said it was the first time that she knew that having bipolar was not her fault.
Still,
it was significant. And it opened up a conversation in my own family that was always put on the back burner. We were able to go more directly there than we had ever done before. I've sent many clients personally to your writing groups, and they always feel like they land in a safe place where they get to hear their own voice and where something gets opened up inside of them that is surprising, nurturing, soothing, and guiding. So I know writing is something that you offer in so many different ways. I know that you also offer it at the senior center where my dad lives. So that's really cool to have seniors writing about their own life stories. And I just want to say welcome. And and I know that you have a lot that you are excited about in this chapter of your life. And so I guess I want to start with what's lighting you up, Junie?
Life is lighting me up. You're lighting me up. Alice, you're lighting me up. This moment, I've become much more conscious now of every moment. I've turned a corner. It's been a very hard year for me, a very, very hard year. One of the hardest, I think, in my life, maybe a year and a half, coming through cancer. 6 of my friends have passed away since January, and my husband left me. That is a lot. It is more grief than I think. I don't know how I got through it, but I did. I totally did. And so, I'm in the process of it, and it feels better than it sure has. It was a long, long road of pain and grief, and there's no time limit on grief, and it comes and it goes in waves, and you know that very well recently as well, Maggie, at the loss of your mom.
What would you say helped you through what would you say you leaned into during this, talk about layers of grief, right? What would you say that you leaned into during this time? Because I can hear that you're saying, I'm coming through it. So what were the things that helped you to be able to sit here today and say, I'm coming through it?
Well, no surprise, journaling. Surprised my right hand hasn't fallen off yet. Meditation, walking in nature, a lot of reflection, deep inner work, therapy, very discerning where I spend my energy. Those kinds of things, good friends. But I think the most important work for me is my spiritual work, my inner work, the guidance I was open to, and I'm always open to, although at some points it just felt I was deserted. And so, there was nothing really that was a consolation for the amount of grief that I was carrying. It seemed like every time I turned around in the last 6 months, another friend had passed. And it just seemed like Murphy's Law, crazy, crazy stuff. And so, Rumi has a poem, actually, it's in one of the prompts of my 21-day meditation challenge. And it's, I don't remember it all, but it's about come back, even if you've left 1,000 times, come back. And so it was me that had to come back to trusting that all is well, that knowing in spite of what's going on here, all is well.
Mm-hmm.
Alive and friends of mine are not, tells me I'm here for a purpose, and keep going on my own mission to help spread light on the planet and love, self-love. I've had to learn to love myself in ways I didn't even know were possible.
Wow. Deep self-love.
Yeah, as Matt Kahn, one of my favorite spiritual teachers, would say, give yourself or love yourself more, not less.
Mm-hmm.
Because who knows better than us what we need?
Mm-hmm.
As you're talking, Junie, it really harkens to what Ignite is about. And our second word in our business name, transformative, sounds like what you've been experiencing these past 7-8 months is huge. Many of us experience this kind of loss, but it's always spaced out, and yours is so concentrated and so condensed. I think of a portal of transformation, and it sounds like you've been going through such challenging emotional experiences of loss and gain and loss and gain, and I think our viewers can really relate to that, but I don't know many people who've had so much in such a short time. When you say come back, what does that mean to you exactly? I'm just curious.
It means come back to my heart. It means come back to I was thinking of a quote earlier, but well, not necessarily a quote, but something that I tell myself, that life is happening for us, not to us, that there's a higher divine reason why this is happening and why it's such an accelerated pace that I could not possibly know right now. It's usually in retrospect I can say, this happened because it led me to this or that. And I can see bits and pieces now, because one of my a course that I've been facilitating for 25 years is the Rewrite Your Life program, and it's and it is really about rewriting the stories of our lives so that we can see the lessons that each story comes to bring us, and then in each story there's a gift. I believe there's gifts in all of it. I don't quite see all the gifts in this particular time frame, but I'm starting to get a glimmer of them. I really am. I really am. And I also am able to see my part, in some of the things that I've just felt, wow, this is happening to me, for me, and see some of the choices that I've made, perhaps that could have made things differently. Certainly not in the lives of others, my friends who passed, but in my own life, and choices that we can make.
Yeah, as you're speaking, I'm thinking of something I learned through the Excellence series, which is their definition of accountability. I attract to me that which occurs. And many people stumble over that when they first encounter it, because they think, how can we be attracting all of the unpleasant things? You think of someone who's been raped or experienced horrible violence in their young life. And I remember the gifted speaker, Arlene Maggie, she said, until people are a certain age, like children aren't consciously attracting. We're very much in an unconscious state as we're young. And now here we are, in another chapter of our life with so much more consciousness. And so what you're saying about things happening to me versus happening for me, I just love that reframe. It just ties in so beautifully with the idea that I'm here, I'm participating in life, things are happening, yet I get to be at choice about how I'm responding to them. That's just so marvelous.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that is, I think that's a key. I think what you just said right now, Alice, is huge, because life is, there's always going to be hardship. We can't avoid it. There's going to be loss. There's going to be heartbreak. There's going to be, for a million reasons, there's just so many things that happen where we feel bereft. It's part of life. But how we respond to them is going to make the difference as to whether we suffer or not. I can take a breath, and before I react to something, I can choose to say, I'll get back to you. I can choose to meditate. I can choose lots of things rather than just knee-jerk reaction to something that can be really hard, especially in communication with others, big triggers. And yeah. And so I usually ask for guidance. I ask for guidance a lot. And if I know that something is unpleasant, potentially unpleasant, and a communication might come up because of a trigger that I might, or knowledge that could be, I set an intention beforehand that this situation is graced with peace and ability to hear and listen, and with a beautiful outcome. And when I do that beforehand, I really embody it. I see it. I want it. And I know that given my ego self, yeah, right, forget it. That person is wrong, clearly, and I'm going to make sure they know it. And when I take the time and I become that evolved, conscious self, instead of this 4-year-old that's running, that's still running the bus, things will change in a healthy way, I believe.
I just really am taking it all in, and I'm hearing so many pieces in here. I hear, I think that we all go through these dark nights of the soul, these dark times. And in there, we can feel lost sometimes and reactive to it. And then as I'm listening to your process for you to sit here today and say, I'm coming through it, I hear a deep return to your connection to who you are. And I hear these tools of pause and set an intention and make sure I'm meditating and make sure that I'm communicating my intention clearly and do some self-reflection and use my journal. And I hear all these tools, and I hear underneath all the tools, I hear a return to you in self-love, deeper and deeper and deeper self-love. And I think that that is the work for all of us. I think that in times when we are on our knees in pain, and when we're grieving, and when we're feeling rejected, and when we're feeling abandoned, and when we're feeling disconnected, it is the return to a deepening self-love where we anchor back in to all that matters and to who we truly are, and to find our map and our way through it, and to reconnect to spirit and a deeper, a broader perspective that helps us, right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I know that last year, well, for 2 years now, when I was first diagnosed with cancer, I mean, I actually walked down the aisle with cancer and didn't know it because I was misdiagnosed. So it was like, you know, a few months later that I learned I had it. But I wanted to live so much. And I spent my life working on myself in order to, you know, the transformations are like crazy. I mean, in order to heal a very difficult childhood. And so I've always worked on myself. You know, but I went so much deeper. I just said, okay, God, anything that I have not been able to see, any, you know, all of the hidden, unconscious patterns, paradigms, beliefs, bring them on, bring them into the light so I can heal them, I can deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be careful what you asked for, because I got a barrage of things that I could only go so far up until then. In my life. And so, you know, some things were meant to be cleared, and I worked with it. And last year, this time, when the pain was so excruciating, and I wondered, how do people live with this amount of pain? I never once said, okay, take me. Not once, even though the oncologist was saying you might want to choose MAID. And I'm not yet. I'm going to get through this. And I'm so grateful that I'm so grateful that I'm here.
Yes.
And we are too, Junie. We're grateful that you chose to live.
Oh, yeah, me too.
When you said I walked down the aisle with cancer, my first thought was that it was a literal statement. And then I realized you meant you were talking about when you got married. But the idea that I've listened to different people talk about their journeys through cancer, and I'm so curious about it. Like one woman I know, she named her tumor, and I thought, how bizarre. And she's like, no, I'm making friends with it. And she says, I talk to it all the time. And I tell it, you know, it doesn't need to have to grow. And I went with her to a treatment at the hospital where they strapped her on the table and they put this thing over her head. And I was just like really trying hard to contain my own emotion and just be there for her. But it was like really disturbing. And to think that people, they all have their own process. Yours sounded more like you wanted to just bring everything up that you may not have had a chance to examine yet. So asking God to bring it all into the light for you to look at, that's powerful. Oh my goodness. That's so brave and courageous to do that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I had to, I just believed it was guidance, I'm sure, you know, to do that so that I could live in a where I'm moving into now, in a more powerful place where I can really embrace my light, not deny it, not, you know, skirt around it, no. I mean, I'm here as a light worker, and I have been for a lot of years. And I think you can only go as far down or offer others as far as you've gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that you have to go through the war in order to be there for someone who has literally gone through whatever that war was.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you have to do your own work and go a really, really deep dive in order to be able to hold that reverent space for another. And I didn't want to have any hidden stuff. And so I've already got my next book on the go, and the book is Escalating Bliss, inspired by
Bliss.
And I'll tell you about that words, or those two words, Escalating Bliss, inspired by cancer. Because I've written several books, and in fact, two actually went out, were published this past year while I had cancer. To be honest with you, they were mostly done. there was still stuff, and it gave me some, energy to do them and get them out. But I have so many stories that have yet to be told because I've never had the courage to tell them.
Mm-hmm.
And I help people write their stories,
Mm-hmm.
and their books. And I always say the first draft is for you, for the person who's writing it. So they don't have to change names. They don't have to write in a pretty poetic way, so nobody's going to be offended. It's for them. And then they get to decide at the end of the book what they want to leave in and what they want to take out. And the way I work with people is to help them through whatever triggers come up in their book. So the trigger is, it's not a rush to the finish line. If it comes up, we work with it so they can feel empowered. So by the end of their book, they're feeling really awesome. And some of the things that they thought they were going to say that were in the first draft, they don't need to say in that way.
Right.
And so So I had to ask myself, those stories that I've been so terrified of actually exposing,
Mm-hmm.
dare I? And when you're on your deathbed, you that's the question: is it now or not?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And for now, it's a yes. I will write them. Many are written, and when I finish, I'll decide.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Right? But so many that will be written or I'll look at the ones that I wrote, and I will write them in the way in which I ask people to do the rewrite your life.
mhm.
Tell the story the way you remember it, with all of your senses present, but with a consciousness of reframing it. And can't take away how it happened or what happened in your perception of what happened. But you can again go back and respond to it now or look at it in a way that you can see some of the lessons. What did I learn from this experience? What did it teach me? And
Mhm.
what are the gifts?
Wow.
What are the gifts?
So
And
that
when
sounds much more like a therapeutic process rather than just a writing process.
it totally is. It totally is. I married both professions about 15 years ago as a psychotherapist and a writing coach, and decided that's what I really am passionate about. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, because it allows
Yeah.
both to be.
Yeah. What I think as I'm listening, I'm just really reflecting on something that we always talk about in Ignite, and something that I always talk about with every client that I ever meet, and every person really, is that we're all shadow and light, right? And I think in my naivety way back when we that story of the two wolves, there's two wolves inside of us, and one is full of joy and peace and love, and the other is full of anger and hurt, hate, and frustration and stress and whatever. And when and it's like, which one wins, grandpa? And it's the one you feed, right? This parable. And I think that many years ago, I probably had this naive impression that I could just feed the good wolf, the light wolf, the joy wolf, and the other one would just go away eventually. And it just
Right.
doesn't work that way, does it? Years of
I
wisdom
wish it did.
experience, we come to see, no, the more that I ignore that one, the hungrier and more vicious it gets to get my attention. And actually, what it needs me to do is turn to it and say, oh, sweetheart, I hear your growl. I see your gnarly teeth. What is it that you need, sweetheart? I'm right here. And that's what I hear in you, Junie, when you say, I said I want to bring it all into the light. Show me. Let me bring it all into the light, and let me do it with some love and compassion. And how vulnerable that is, and how powerful that is to do that through writing your story like this. We all have stories that are in the bottom of the jar, the bottom of the heart, or shoved down somewhere. And the power of bringing the light and the truth out, and the expression out, and bringing that compassionate, safe space that allows the transformation to happen, even in the process of the writing, and to hold off on the decision about where it's going to be shared until we absorb the healing process.
Absolutely. And I have to say, you know, as I've just come through this hard time, and literally, like, you know, a month ago it was my birthday, and I made the choice on that day to have it like my own private Vipassana, silence and healing and intentional letting go, and letting go of the marriage, which is what my husband has wanted from the beginning in January. And I'm pleading, don't do this. Why would you? There's so much goodness. Anyway, finally into that acceptance, letting go in a beautiful way, not in, well, why would you do that? To blessing and releasing all of it, and blessing and releasing the treasure chest filled with so many gifts that we shared together, letters, cards. And since then, oh my God, it's like I'm walking in grace. I'm walking. I feel so much joy. I remember when you saw me not that long ago, and you were just like, what? You actually came to this outdoor event of music, and I'm just dancing my body off. You know, I'm grooving away. And it's not like it's one or the other. There are moments that, oh my gosh, it just catches. It's like, what? How could this be? And then it's like, okay, I love you, sweetheart. I'm with you. I'm here. What do you need? I'm listening, really listening. And I feed that child what she needs. And yeah, so it's a beautiful poem, but I don't think I can find it fast enough. But it's I can't even remember her name. It's too bad. But anyway, it's a poem that reflects that when people ask. I think it's actually called When People Ask, and it's when people ask, "How are you?" basically, and she wants a word that means devastated by grief and exquisitely wonderful because of the sunrise today. You know, I mean, to be able to hold both. She wants one word. And yeah, because we can. I didn't know that. I didn't know we could. I mean, growing up, I mean, if I walked in the door, and if I was happy, I just came with some friends and it was great. I couldn't bring that joy into the house. No way. No way. There wasn't room for it. And whatever. And so I always felt that, you know, I was just absorbing what other people were carrying and didn't know I could have my own expression.
Yeah, as you're saying that, sorry, Maggie, I'm thinking of the words I am, because that encompasses everything. I am. I exist, and it's everything. It's the yin and the yang, the dark and the light, the sorrow and the joy. And I love the idea that we don't really need to explain ourselves to anyone, right? There's no need for excuses or reasons or justifiers. I am. And maybe there's a smile on my face today, maybe there's tears in my eyes tomorrow, but I exist. I'm a universe unto myself. I heard that phrase from someone talking about the Jewish faith. And I thought, yes, we are all each a universe unto ourselves. And how beautiful and spectacular that is, that we have our own galaxy system and our own stars and our own sun and moon, and that the taking of a life, when we think about that we're taking a universe, it's just so inexplicable to me how people can be in war. And like, I could never imagine having to take a life or losing my own life for that purpose. But yeah, it just struck me. Yeah, one word to say all of it. It's a lot.
Right. Yeah, I am. Yeah, you know, one of the it's a deeper awareness that I've had over the last week or two, um, is that, I mean, we know that that nothing lasts forever.
Mhm.
Life isn't, there's impermanence. I mean, things come and they go. Nature right now, it's in bloom, everything's beautiful. And then there'll be a season soon when the fall will come and the leaves will drop. And I don't know whether trees go into depression. I don't think so. They just go into their natural, oh, that was beautiful, and I'll have more next year. Or, it's just everything comes and it goes. And so there's this rhythm of nature, of impermanence in our life, where the letting go, I wish we learned that kind of
Hmm.
ability to surrender when we were just, as a kid. I mean, people think,
Yeah.
what does that mean? But now it's like, it's okay. Love never dies,
Yeah.
you know? And so whether I lose this body, and we're all going to lose it one day, our souls live on,
Mhm.
and we're not that far removed from those who have moved on. It's a thin veil, and even thinner these days, we're told.
Mhm.
And so the more I'm becoming more accepting of the rhythm, I can live in the mystery of life and not know, but have the tools to adapt
Yeah.
better.
Junie, I just love listening to the depth in you and the genuine heart that always pulses through everything that you do and everything you say. And I guess my question would be, I know the power of writing in my own journal by myself. I know the power of that. And here at Ignite, we really love the power of a circle, right? So, what I want to hear from you is, what is the gift that you think you could describe when people come to your writing retreats? What is the extra gift that they get that would be different than just writing through your you've got a 21-day writing challenge that you're going to be gifting, and we'll say more about that later. And so, potentially someone could just receive Junie gifts in their own home. And what's different about, making that investment to come to one of your retreats?
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, I do have one coming up in August, a 5-day retreat on the rewriting. And there's a synergy that happens when we're together in a circle. And I've been doing these for 30 years. It's the same time when I hung up a shingle to become a psychotherapist, I hung up one as a writing coach, writing, I mean, so because writing became my lifeline as a kid. I didn't have a voice. So a lot of these people who come to my writing circles seem to be attracted to this sort of kind of healing is it is because they've lost their voice at some point. They don't feel confident to speak their voice, and they know that writing is an exquisite healing tool. It's also an exquisite creative tool. I mean, some of the most difficult things get morphed and transformed into books and plays and songs and you name it, paintings, everything. I mean, the words can get absolutely, you get creative and you just want to go out there and sing. And so when we put I mean, I've got this phrase of your soul meets you on the page and something shifts. Um, you begin to stand taller, and one day you learn that your voice on the page becomes your voice in the world. And that's my motto. And when people come to these writing groups, and especially because we don't feel alone, we're going through it together. And of course, we build a container of safety, right? And that voice in the world, the voice on the page that can become the voice in the world, it could mean that this person now feel strong enough in their voice when they leave to be able to express something to their child or their husband or somebody in their life that they never had the courage to. And they can do that. Other people want to take their voice now into a one-woman show. I don't know. But we build on each other's strengths. We learn from each other's pain so much, and how other people have transformed their pain into something beautiful, because hey, all of us have, because we've all gone through stuff and we're here to still tell the story.
Yes.
And I want people to tell their story, but I don't want people to live there.
I think that's amazing, Junie. I just am recognizing that we're drawing close to the end of our time together, and I really want people to have a way to find out more about your upcoming retreat in August. What is the best way for them to stay informed? Should they email you? And if so, which email? Or should they join your Facebook group? What would you recommend?
Well, they could email me at Junie Swadron, JD Swadron, SWADRON, as like in Sam, at gmail.com. JD, Junie Darling. My mother actually named me Junie Darling.
Oh,
And I was embarrassed by it as a kid.
I'm sure you were.
Oh my God, I got so teased. So I changed it to Darlene for the records, but not the official ones, but at school. No, it's not. It's not. But anyway, she looked at me when I was an infant, apparently, and they were going to call me, I don't know what, but she looked at me and I was sick. And she said, "Oh, Junie, darling." And I was, wow, how sweet is it, right? So anyway, they can reach me at my email. They can also look at the Bethlehem Center, and that's Bethlehem. I think that's where Jesus walked. And they'll just upcoming events, and they'll see it there. And they can go to my website, junieswadron.com. So there's lots of ways that people can find it, and it is the Rewrite Your Life one. And I'll just show you this was the first book I wrote, and it was in 2009 or 8, and it's the Rewrite Your Life, a transformational guide to writing and healing the stories of our lives. And I'm very proud of Julia Cameron's. She's the author of the Artist's Way.
Yeah.
And she gave me an endorsement for this book, and I'm so excited about that. It was a real miracle. And whoops, and then I did this is Rewrite Your Life 2, Peace Awaits You. And yeah, it's so it is about, I've said a lot about that. It is taking a look at the stories of our lives that have hurt us, that have injured us, that we haven't been able to shed those stories. We're still telling that same story. We got, divorced 20 years ago, and we're still angry. And right, a lot, whatever it happens to be. We lost a job. We never, we were downsized, and we never got our confidence back, or we never got the same opportunity, and we're still blaming. It's time. If not now, when? It's so time. Why is it time? I get so passionate. Because we want to live now, free from the past. We can honor it. We can look at it and say, that's too bad. Sorry that happened, but that sucks. But hey, here I am today. And the more we do, we're not just living for ourselves. We light up our family. We light up the world, because we're walking around with a different energy. So if people want to do that, can you imagine 5 days? 5 days together to just be able to finally unleash. So I met you, Maggie. Unleash the past that have been
to honor and release, and come back to center with more self-love. Junie, I am so glad that you just fought hard to live, to be here with us still. to share all that you've learned through this very difficult year of grief upon grief upon grief, and to come back here with this clarity and wisdom, with this bright energy for living, for sharing, for continuing to contribute, and to do your thing and to share your gifts with all of us. I just really love that you're here. And Junie, I just thank you so much for the gift that will be in the Ignite membership when it gets released. And it'll be a 21-day writing challenge from Junie Swadron, including video prompts and all the juiciness and wisdom that Junie shares to guide you in hearing your own voice and to honoring and releasing with love and self-compassion.
Mm-hmm. Ditto to everything.
What's that, Alice?
Sorry, ditto to everything Maggie said.
Oh,
thank you so much.
This has been so wonderful. I didn't mean to cry through it all, but it's okay.
Hey, that's all about honoring and releasing, and it's all about truth. And those are sacred tears. And you know, and I love the everything in here because it's the tears and the joy and the life comes through you all in one.
All in one. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that play that your mother watched, Madness, Masks, and Miracles, to dispel myths and stigmas about mental illness, the madness of the dark night of the soul we all go through, the masks we wear to hide the madness, the heartbreak, the pain, and then the miracles that allow us to take off those masks and be real. So I guess I was starting to wear a little bit of a mask. Oh my God, I'm sorry that I had some tears.
No,
I teach what I need to learn. So what can I tell you?
Well, we had a wonderful time together, and thank you so much for sharing all of those pearls. And again, we will post your information when we post the interview. But for people listening right now, you have options. You've got her website. You've got jdswadron@gmail.com. She's got a Facebook group. So lots of great ways to get a hold of Junie and hear more and see more about what she's sharing. And do you have your dates in August yet for the Bethlehem Center?
I do. Thank you for asking. It's the 29th of August till the September 2nd.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Blessings.
The world is changing, the world's on fire. I want to do my part to inspire change. I want to make my home a sanctuary of love and peace and harmony, and be the change I want to see.